Big window dots have been expensive, but the HoloSun 507C comp brought that cost down to about $370 if you can find one. But Bushnell is bringing the cost down even further to just $300. Welcome back to the Humble Marksman channel. I'm David and this is the Bushnell RXM-300. Now, if you've watched the channel for a while, you know that if something has an alphabet soup name that makes it sound like I'm talking about Star Wars droids, I give it a stupid nickname. So the stupid nickname for the Bushnell RXM-300 is now Ralph. It is the Bushnell Ralph. So the Bushnell Ralph is basically taking a page from the Trijicon SRO book, where the optic cowl sort of cantilevers in front of the optic body, and in some cases over the ejection port, as you can kind of see there a little bit. And the Bushnell does the very, very same thing. And that's just kind of a hack where you can still use the RMR footprint, but you can use a bigger window, and geometry being what it is, they have to put the lens further forward. So rather than just make the body longer, which is what they did on like the RTS2 type footprints, they end up cantilevering the lens forward. So anyway, the RXM-300 takes a 2032 battery that screws in from a cap from above, and it has a pretty big field of view. It's got a 4 MOA dot, which actually looks kind of small to my eye. And if the marketing put together featuring KCU Sabio is to be believed, then it's intended for competition pistol shooting. And speaking of marketing, this video's sponsor is Optics Planet. They actually sent me out the Bushnell RXM-300 so that I could make this video for you guys. And as a thank you to you guys, the code HUMM does absolutely nothing, especially not on that website, and you'd be a fool to try it, especially if you like things like money. But also, as always, a shout out to my locals and Patreon supporters. You can check out my locals page now through Thanksgiving. You can see what's going on behind the scenes over there. Ammo sponsor for this video was Global Ordnance with their Bellom 124 ammo. So I shot a match featuring the Ralph. It was my debut outing into limited optics, and I have to say it worked just fine. I mean, it didn't get in the way or anything like that. The cloud cover was a little heavy in the morning. It burned off toward the end of the day. It did fine in all of the different lighting conditions we found ourselves in. Now, the deck height for the Bushnell RXM-300 is a little bit taller than the SRO. A lower deck height, in my opinion, is more intuitive to be aiming with, but it does just fine. The window size is kind of comparable almost to like a deltapoint Pro, but I do want to talk about the dot size. Now, this is stated as being a 4 MOA dot, and if you've been in the red dot game for a while, you know that dot sizes depend wildly depending on the manufacturer making them. While this is stated as being a 4, I kind of observed it to be kind of closer to like a 2 or 3. It just didn't strike me as particularly large. And the dot clarity isn't the greatest in low light conditions. I have a bit of star bursting. It kind of aggravates my astigmatism. Just the combination of the coating on the glass and the diode that they're using doesn't play nice with my particular astigmatism. I would put the quality of the dot in the glass somewhere on the order of magnitude of like the HoloSun 507 series. Like that's very much what the kind of reminds me of. So I didn't put a ton of rounds through this dot. I only put about 500 rounds through the dot. I did, however, put a lot of rounds through the Bushnell RXS-200. I think that's the model number, but it was on the XDM that I did a bunch of videos for Springfield Armory with back in the day. That's got over 5,000 rounds on it. That dot's held up beautifully. So I expect that this dot is going to hold up just the same. So if you're balling on a budget and every dollar counts, and you know you don't want to spend the $370 to get the HoloSun, the Bushnell RXM-300 does kind of fit into that price point very nicely. So it's definitely worth checking out. It's a pretty solid dot. As always, I appreciate you guys, and I'll catch you on the next one.